Waters are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
A bit earlier at about 7 a.m., a group from the Coast Guard.
Welcome to #PH Vote 2013 Rappler.
Today on Rappler, the health department braces for 50 to 80 injuries every hour as Filipinos welcome the new year. Philippine aviation officials allow passengers to text and connect to the internet during flights. And Myanmar declares no more political prisoners after a sweeping amnesty. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. This is the last day of 2013. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The Department of Health, or DOH, braces for reports of 50 to 80 fireworks-related injuries every hour in the 12-hour period before and after New Year's Eve. As of Tuesday morning, the number of people hurt by fireworks or stray bullets reached 262 and may breach last year's final after-midnight tally. Assistant Health Secretary Eric Tayag says the victims of early celebrations include an 8-year-old boy in Cebu City who lost his right hand because of a powerful firecracker and a 40-year-old woman in Manila with an accidental gun wound. The DOH says 253 people are injured by fireworks, 8 hit by stray bullets, and 1 ingested firecrackers. The department braces for more injuries as the Philippines greets the new year with noise and firecrackers, an annual ritual. Last year, though, 2 children were killed by stray bullets while more than 400 people were injured. The deaths triggered widespread public calls for stricter gun controls. The Philippine Army says it will strictly implement its policy against indiscriminate firing during the New Year's celebrations. In a statement, the Army warned soldiers caught firing their weapons while welcoming 2014 may be demoted or dismissed from service. Under Article 254 of the Revised Penal Code, violators also face jail time of up to 6 years. Rappler research shows the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, made a mistake in singling out certain officials for failing to submit after-election documents. The poll body earlier wanted to remove 424 elected officials from their posts because they failed to submit their statements of election contributions and expenses, or SOCE, on time. This is allegedly what they did. But according to documents recently uploaded to the COMELEC website, at least 29 of those officials complied as early as June. The 29 who submitted their reports on time included 4 district representatives. Aside from them, 86 of those initially listed with SOCE deficiencies were considered fully compliant before the Christmas break. Republic Act 7166 requires all candidates to submit their SOCEs 30 days after the polls. But Justice Secretary Laila de Lima says the poll body could not remove elected officials with just a memorandum. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, says it will allow passengers to connect to the world through the internet and text messaging during flights. But phone calls are still banned as soon as doors of the plane close. Old regulations allowed the use of electronic devices mid-flight without connectivity. CAAP Director General William Hotchkiss says the order covers transmitting portable electronic devices. When the aircraft's doors are still open, the following are allowed: use of laptops and cellular phones, internet access, sending SMS or text messages, and yes, voice calls. When the aircraft is refueling, all transmittable electronic devices need to be turned off. Laptops using broadbands and use of cellular phones are strictly prohibited. When the aircraft's doors are closed, use of transmittable electronic devices are allowed on silent mode. Sending SMS or text messages is allowed. Internet use is allowed. Games can be played on silent mode. MP3s can be used with earphones, but voice calls are prohibited. In October, the United States announced it would relax restrictions on the use of mobile devices on planes. Concerns have been raised that allowing phone calls on flights, though, may disturb other passengers. Successive bombings on a railway station and trolley bus in Russia prompt safety concerns as the Winter Olympics in Sochi draw near. On Monday, a suspected suicide bombing strikes the city of Volgograd, killing at least 14 people. This comes a day after suspected female suicide bomber caused a massive explosion at the train station, killing at least 17. CNN reports the explosions happened months after the leader of a Chechen separatist group promised to disrupt the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics that begin on February 7th. Russian President Vladimir Putin orders a probe and extra security measures in preparation for the event. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach condemns the bombings and expresses confidence in Russian authorities to, quote, deliver safe and secure games in Sochi. Myanmar says there will be no more political prisoners after a sweeping amnesty order. Spokesman Hugh Tut says President Thein Sein, quote, fulfilled his promise to free all dissidents by the end of the year. On Monday, Myanmar says it will pardon those imprisoned under a series of controversial legislation, the Emergency Act, used by the junta to imprison opponents. Campaigners recently say some 40 dissidents are behind bars in Myanmar, while 200 people wait for trial. More than 19,000 people leave their homes after a volcano in Indonesia shot lava into the air 9 times since Monday night. Mount Sinabung on the western island of Sumatra sends hot rocks and ash 7,000 meters in the air Monday night and Tuesday morning. Police and soldiers patrol the danger zone to evacuate people remaining in their homes. Mount Sinabung erupted in September for the first time since 2010. A powerful cyclone hits Australia's west coast Tuesday, bringing torrential rains and destructive gales that ripped up trees and roofs and closed major global iron ore operations. Tropical Cyclone Christine hits land as a Category 3 storm, packing winds of over 170 kilometers per hour. The cyclone weakens to a Category 2, but a red alert remains up over towns in the storm's path, including Port Hedland, Karratha, and Dampier. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 3, 2013 is the year Asia's economic powerhouses made their way into space. South Korea placed its first satellite in orbit, Japan launched a new 3-stage rocket, and India sent a probe to Mars. China led the pack, carrying out a manned trip as a prelude to assembling a space station by 2020. Analysts praise the feats, but they also warn about a potential intra-Asian space rivalry. The biggest worry: militarization of space. Analysts say the United States and Russia are starting to perceive China as a potential threat. At number 4, Oscar-nominated filmmaker Zhang Yimou faces fines and public criticism for violating China's strict family planning rules. CNN reports Zhang admitted to having 3 children with his wife, breaking the rule limiting urban couples to 1 child. Zhang's case comes as China recently adopted new rules loosening the strict 1-child policy. Zhang, known for the Oscar-nominated film Raise the Red Lantern, gets criticized by netizens who resent how the rich and famous in China defy rules and policies. At number 9, German driver Michael Schumacher's love for speed haunts him today after skiing on unmarked slopes in France led to a serious head injury. On Sunday, he fell on the slopes and hit his head on a rock. As a Formula One racer, the 7-time champion is known for his daring maneuvers and willingness to take risks. After the accident, doctors keep Schumacher in a medically induced coma to improve healing. Doctors report a slight improvement in his condition after a second surgery. Traumatic brain injury causes the brain to swell, but it also causes more pressure on the brain. And at number 10, Apple CEO Tim Cook cuts $4 million of his pay because of Apple's underperforming stock price. CNN reports Apple decided to align Cook's pay with the company's performance in the S&P 500 index. In its filing, Apple says the decision was made out of a, quote, strong desire to set a leadership example in the area of CEO compensation and governance. Apple's stock fell 26% between August 2012 and August 2013, forcing Cook to forfeit 50% of his stock grants at risk. The stock grants were worth $4 million. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our viewers and our readers the most emotionally. If you take a look, these 10 stories have gotten the most number of votes on their mood meter. If we look at today, the New Year's Aquino The New Year's resolutions, the Pope Francis list, you have 74% inspired, 21% happy, one of the top stories of the year. The first time in 600 years a Pope resigns and Pope Francis takes over. Story we just showed you, the Philippines allows phone use on planes, 78% happy, but 3% angry. That's that anger bringing out the red that's in the story that's gotten the most number of votes. Still one of the top stories of the year. Pork Tales, a story of corruption that led to hashtag Million People March. You have 12% inspired. This did bring about the end of the pork barrel, declared unconstitutional, but also a whopping 87% angry. On the last day of 2013, you have most people angry. Well, that is Rappler's newscast for today, Tuesday, December 31, 2013. Hopefully that anger turns to happiness or some green emotion in the last few hours of the year. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.